But yeah, like these are the fundamentals, and as I said, like I think it's important to know what they are, and I think the reason that people are playing the game for like thousands of hours and are still like struggling really hard and like mid levels or even low levels after thousands of hours is because they don't work on these. Instead, they go all the way down. They work on these. They work on this. They work on this. They work on less important things: rotations, ganks. I don't know, revenge, feats, team fights. I don't know, light spam. People are working on these things when this is all irrelevant if you can't do the number one things. I guess also could be like external. I mean, that's kind of obvious. But these are the important things. These are the things that allow you to actually get good at the game. These things, like obviously, Kanta Garbage is just there because you have to be able to Kanta Garbage, right? To just exist in the video game, right? You have to be able to Kanta Garbage. But I think everyone knows that, which is why it's slightly separated from the others. Because I think people underestimate how important block and dodging is. And then the external parts of that is also another like thing that they have to learn. And I think people might be okay at blocking, for example, but then you throw an attack at them from external, and they just don't know what to do. They don't know like what to do in anti-ganks, and this is on console and PC. This works the exact same way. In fact, I would say on console, external blocking is even more important, just because of how you will not block anything on reaction for the most part, and for before, with how much happening, you're low FOV. Probably they're playing on Wi-Fi, just like free marginal Wi-Fi while in their like fucking carton box, so they will probably not have the best connection, and you will not be able to use this, right? Blocking will not really work for you, but external blocking will work. Dodging will not really work that well either, but external dodging will, which means you can lock onto someone else, and then like a warlord on your right or something spamming headbutt, you can just dodge left, which for him is dodging backwards, if that makes sense, right? Like you're getting the same distance you would get from a back dodge, but you're getting it from with 600 MS recovery, so he can't really do anything about it. Especially if you just block his way as well, so he can like zone you. And someone in my chat is asking like, what about parries? Well, let's go. Let's find the parries on this fundamentals. Oh, there we go, all the way down here. Parries, I included crushing counters because they're pretty much parries as well. Obviously they work a slightly bit differently, but they don't really. It's the same as parry, as normal parry with heavy, except you just do it with a light attack, and you get a different punish of course, but it's the same timing. Certain crushing counters are a little bit different again, like Highlanders has a tiny bit bigger window. I think there's like one more that has like a tiny bit bigger window. Shaolin's, for example, crushing counters from Keystans have bigger windows, like far bigger windows. But fundamentally they work very similarly. So that's for me like very like the same thing. You first learn how to parry with heavies, then you learn how to parry with option selects, and then if you have crushing counters, you learn how to parry with those, and then you use all of those at the same time. When you play someone like BP, so Blackbriar, or when you play Balk, you use all of these at the same time to be able to accentuate your defense after you already know these things. After you're already good at blocking externally, dodging externally, just blocking and dodging normally as well, which means that first you have to learn this to be able to learn this, right? This makes sense, I think. Which means that first you start with 1v1. You learn CGB, you learn blocking, you learn dodging. Later on, you learn parrying. You learn the very basics of offense, which is, things like mind games, knowing your character's toolkit and when to use it, things like that, right? Those very simple things. And a character for that, for example, that I probably shouldn't like put this here, but like Warlord. Like Warlord is literally just this. Like Warlord is gonna help you if you want to improve at this. You play Warlord, I think, because that's all he has. That's all Warlord in the 1v1 has. He has mind games with forward dodge GB, or forward dodge headbutt, or forward dodge like light or zone, I guess. and you have to know the toolkit. You have to know when to use everything, because everything is not that good, but together it kind of works. So like Warlord, and because he doesn't have much more, Kansai is a pretty good one as well, but he has a little bit more. So if you want to learn these things, play something like Warlord or Kansai at first. If you want to learn like blocking, then just play literally anyone. I would say play a steady guy character first. If you really like an assassin, then sure go for it, but I would say try playing a character with steady guard first, because it's so much easier to do all of this. It's kind of doesn't really change, but blocking, dodging as well. Like if you play Valk or if you play like a reflex guard character, this will be more difficult for you. So just pick like, I don't know, Jung, pick like Nobushi. Kensei is a little bit different because his guard changes with his dodge direction, but even then, pick like characters like Warlord even. Characters like that, they're gonna really help you with this, because you'll be able to do this safely, much more safely. For example, if a Shaolin is in key stance and there's someone else that you can lock onto, you just lock onto that person and you dodge. What the hell is a Shaolin gonna do? Top unblockable that you can parry, because you do recover in time to be able to parry it with, again, once we get the parries, with these options, obviously you cannot crush counter and unblockable, but you can use option selects, you can use parry. Simple parry or an option select parry. And when you use these externally as well, because all of this you can use externally. I cannot type. This is not the best formatted list, but it doesn't matter. It's not important. Crushing counters external are like less important. I'm not gonna put them actually, because crushing counters externally are not nearly as important. But option select externally are insane. Like hidden stance option select externally was unbeatable. There was nothing you can do. In the 1v1 there was some things you could do, depending on the character. Externally nothing. Certain parries, sorry not parries, but certain like option selects are insanely powerful when they're done externally. Like PK zone, like it's already really strong in 1v1, and then when you do them externally, so that means not looking at the person you're actually trying to parry. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna get their teammate to like to like parry you? And it's not gonna happen, realistically speaking. So you can do this and you're gonna be okay. I trust you. Believe you, sorry. Believe me, I cannot speak. But I do trust you to be able to be okay when you do this. So I guess I didn't misspeak too much there. But those are the fundamentals. And the reason people are playing thousands of hours is because there we go. They go all the way down here. You know, they're fixing their montages. They're making their montages, and they're working on things like revenge, ganks, feats, rotations, having fun. That's not good. No, I'm not gonna put that, but I don't like tier list. They want to really be optimal, right? I don't know what else. Like, what people could really be thinking about, like maps, map awareness. All of those things are meaningless if you can't do this. If you can't do this. Offense is a little bit less important, but even then, offense as well. Like, and then, deflag is, I could honestly remove it because it's honestly not too important, but there are some players that use it at a high level, and it does exist. I put it there just because it is a defensive mechanic, and defensive mechanics are inherently more important than offensive mechanics. Because defensive mechanics are, first of all, stronger, and second of all, they're universal. So if you can defend, you're going to be able to defend on every character, unless you're like relying on a specific mechanic of a character, right? But if you're just good at defending, you're going to be able to defend on every character. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to attack on every character, right? But people are like playing thousands of hours, and they're like, alright guys, let's make sure I use my revenge very well in this game. Let's try my best, and I don't know, let's gank them. Let's use my feats in a way that makes sense. Let's rotate around the map. Let's read a tier list, so if I lose to a warden and I'm not S tier, that means that means it's okay, it's not my fault. Let's be optimal, and that's to the tier list. I don't know why I wrote it twice, I guess. Let's look at all the maps and see like what we could do on this map. And then like play against someone who just spams attacks into them, and they're like, well, can we fix light spam please? Like, this is honestly insane. I'm such a skilled player, doing all these things very, very well, and then they're abusing my absolute lack of fundamentals, and that's a bit of a problem for me. So can you please fix this? This is like, obviously, this is not to make light spam not like a thing as on console, because obviously it is, at lower levels especially, but even on the higher levels, console is a fun place. But these are the things that are not important. These are the things that you remove. You get GM with this. You literally just get GM with this, and like a little bit of this parries. And then every now and then, if you're playing a character with a good offense, you just like bash every now and then. Like you just play DP and you bash every now and then. And then you don't even have to worry about mind games and like things like that, because like you just every now and then do it. And if you're properly defending, you're gonna be golden. You get GM with this, and then you can worry about these things. So you get GM with this, then you can worry about external, right? If that's for the optimal way of getting better. Obviously, that's not how it's going to be for anyone, really. But I think the optimal way of getting better is just getting GM with in ranked, actually playing it as well. Just blocking, just dodging, parrying, using your option select, using your crushing counters if you have any. Then doing the basic offense. Like you don't have to worry about really that many mind games or anything like that. The For Honor is not a very difficult game, not a very complex one. You can do a very basic mind game. It's going to work, and you just get GM with this, and then you can start worrying. Okay, well maybe I can make a montage. Maybe it's time for me to make a montage. No, then you can worry about the other things. You can try the external. Right, you can go into 4v4 and start playing it. The way I got better at For Honor is I played 1v1 for the first like 2 weeks. Then I played elimination for like a week or two, and I just hoped that my team would die so I could 1v4. And then I went to Dominion, and I had like a 2-week period in like March 2017 where all I would do is I would go into Dominion, queue up for Dominion. Back then, get the Dominion game really quickly. Pick Nobushi, for you, pick literally any hero. And I would tell my team, get 1 point, I'm gonna go mid, we win the game. And sometimes they wouldn't believe me, and then I would 1v4 or 1v2 or 1v3, and they'd be like, okay, well, perhaps we do just have to get 1 point and we win. And they would do that. I would like sometimes have like 2 people boosting 1 point just because they had nothing else to do. And you know, I told them to get 1 point, so they're getting 1 point. And that way, like, you get the fundamentals. Like I at first got these fundamentals. There's no point in first going into the externals, because you need to know this to be able to learn this. You need to know this to be able to learn this. You need to know this to be able to learn this. Right? This makes sense, to me at least. You need to know all these things to be able to then use them better externally, right? And learn the game that way. And then those are the fundamentals. Fundamentals aren't spamming deflect. Fundamentals aren't like even feed usage or like revenge or ganks. I wouldn't call ganks fundamentals at all. Offensive fundamentals are things like mind games, and I mean that's very, I don't know, maybe there's a better way to word this. I'm sure there is. Just mind games and knowing when to use shit. I mean, like, it's far too like the character dependent, I guess, for me to like be able to really quickly sort out fundamentals for offense. But I'm sure there are some that I just cannot think of right now. But they're not nearly as important as these things and moving my notepad in a way that makes no sense. So yeah, if you actually want to improve, then think about these things first, rather than thinking about deflects and thinking about all the other things. Then once you do think you're good enough at that, you're probably not, but still, if you think you're good enough at these things, then you can start worrying about the others.